Hello, you're watching Rizal's ASEAN with me, Rizal Zulkifli. And in this week's episode of Rizal's ASEAN, we sat down with the curator from South Korea, Jeong Ok-Jeon, to discuss how she's helping young Indonesian artists to use art and technology to provide solutions for the future. Let's begin. Jeong Ok-Jeon believes that the relationship between countries in Southeast Asia and Asia could be made stronger through the participation of youth in art and design. The South Korean has consulted, organized, and curated various local, regional, and global art exhibitions, including in Jakarta and Washington, D.C. Her interests include the amalgamation of technology and art as one of the solutions to solve real problems and design for the future. Rizal Zulkifli sat down with Jeong Ok when she was in Kuala Lumpur for the GE Community Summit in December of 2017. So, Jeong Ok, you take and you bring in arts from Korea to South Korea to Jakarta. So tell us about that and tell us about what you're working with in Indonesia.
Every year I work with the Korean Culture Center, which is a part of the Korea Embassy in Indonesia. When they set up their culture center, they had a mission and vision that they wanted to promote as many Korean artists as possible. Especially in Korean art scene, the artists using a technology is quite advanced. So I was asked, actually, I was invited to curate an art exhibition that brings the Korean artists who are in the media art sector and also combined with the Indonesian artists who has a similar interest and similar use of the medium. So each year we create a theme, focus theme, and mostly the exhibition that I curate in Indonesia is very interactive with the audience. So it's not like artists just to bring their piece of art and then hang on the wall, but their art has some sort of a device that the audience can actually interact, either physically or mentally they can interact. So they have to use a lot of like sensory experiences. So I've been working in Jakarta as a curator already 6 years, and so I have many chances to interact with them. I think Indonesian contemporary art scene is really growing a lot. It's really huge, and there are so many talented artists working in there. So I'm very lucky that I can be part of like creating good exchanges between two countries.
And also depends a lot on the collectors and also the bodies, whether it's government bodies or private sectors supporting the art scene and collecting these artworks in Indonesia. Who are these collectors, and what potentials do you see for the art scene, especially in Indonesia and also maybe in general in Southeast Asia?
Actually, that's very good and interesting question, because right now I see the emergence and the growing of the collectors, not just the established collectors who already been collecting their piece of work like 20, 30 years. But now I see there are many individuals who are very young, only like mid-30s, early 40s. They start to showcase their own collections and also very active in collecting the works. Actually, what they've done or what they've doing in terms of like the collectings or supporting, it's actually very, very important, because what I see, how the arts can grow, especially in Southeast Asia, it's not only about the good quality of the piece of art or the good galleries or good curators, but there should be an ecosystem that every sector has to work together to really develop. But I think in that sense, the collectors in Indonesia, they really play important roles to bring their own collections to showcase to other countries sometimes, and also they are supporting the artists who wants to attend an art fairs, international art fairs. So I think it's not only about the Indonesian, but I think Southeast Asian art scene is really growing all together. So there are many art fairs and many Indonesian galleries attending the other countries' art fairs, or the vice versa. So and also at the same time, as a Korean, since I hear quite often from the Korean curators or the gallery owners that they are very interested in learning about Southeast Asian art. So I think there are more chances that Southeast Asian art that could be exposed or be introduced to East Asia.
When you look at the players in the art or in contemporary art in Indonesia, there's a lot of young people, new artists. And if you go to Korea, what we see in the media is a lot of young people giving the country a good branding through pop music. Maybe there are some similarities between the young people in South Korea and also in Indonesia or in Southeast Asia in general. What are the similarities and how can we work together to create a stronger region for the young people to move forward?
Unlike the traditional art or the artists who've been through very traditional practices, the young artists, they are exposed to the like media technology, like social media, or even like MTV, like a concert, music video, or even K-pops, right? So they are very sensitive about what is really happening around us in terms of a pop culture. So in that sense, I think there are more similarities or more ways that they can interact than differences. So if I bring some the young artists to Indonesia, actually, there are so many things that they are in common. So it's really easy to interact and then communicate, and then they are very promptly find what they can work together, because I think that's because everything right now is all connected, and then even before they meet each other physically, there are so many ways that they can be connected.
Some of the issues are quite similar across,
right? Right. So I think as an Asian, of course, each Asian country been through a different traditions, different politics. So I cannot say that we have exactly same experiences. However, as an Asian, there is some sort of some elements or principle that's we share. It's really hard to explain, but there are something quite different from Western. So in that sense, also they are very easy to click each other. So in terms of the art or contemporary art, I think most important thing is they are very easy to share information or knowledge. And they're very exposed to open resources. So what they have in their mind or what they share is quite connected already.
So what's next for the art scene in Jakarta? Are you going to introduce more artists from Korea and take in more techniques from Korea to be introduced in Jakarta? What's next?
Actually, my interest is create more diverse exchanges. But so far, what is lacking in terms of what I practice is it's been quite one way. Even though I think that the interaction must be two ways and also two-way communication, but there are more chances for me to bring the Korean artists to Jakarta rather than Indonesian artists to Korea. So my goal starting 2018 is finding more resources, maybe finding more fundings, sponsors who share the same interests and who sees that this is very important to support. So I'm planning to bring more Indonesian artists and to be introduced in Korea or even beyond Korea.
When you bring the works from Korea to Indonesia, what new growth or new area of interest did you discover because of these new works coming in from Korea? And what do you hope to achieve when you bring works from Jakarta to South Korea?
First, introducing Korean artists to local audience to Jakarta. Even though before I said that there are many similarities that they are sharing, but there are also many differences that they have not experienced. So I'm hoping that by having some very cutting edge, very up-to-date technology-based artwork from Korea, maybe Indonesian audience can see that art is really open-ended. There is no, right answer. There is no like a right truth, but there are always something innovative, something, it's art is something about seeking for something new. So I hope that the local Indonesian audience can experience and have an open mind. But at the same time, as I said, that Indonesia has a very rich culture, and also right now and also good thing about very strengths about the Indonesian contemporary art and artists is they are supporting very much, and then they work together as a collective. So I think that spirit is very special about Indonesia. So by bringing many artist collectives from Indonesia to Korea, actually I want to also spread that kind of spirit. Not just being an individual, but we can always work together.
Okay. Lastly, on the culture on the culture of Southeast Asia and Asia and as a whole, we see new ways to monetize and to profit from culture. We have a lot of narratives in Southeast Asia and also in Asia. What do you think we need to further capitalize on these cultural activities and culture that we have, and how do we push that forward and make that leap to monetize on the culture so that it can add value to our economy?
To be honest, that's actually some challenging question
Yes.
that I always ask myself or ask the
because you
people
don't want to
around.
sell your culture, you don't want to sell your culture, but you also want to expose your culture and have that be a part of your economy, so that when people say, oh, your culture is unique or your economy is unique because it has elements of your culture. So how do we do that?
I think first of all, no matter what culture or what country we are from, I think we should look at our own, richness of the culture, because there are so many contents, so many narratives that we can bring out into the contemporary arts. So that's actually the artist's jobs to explore more about their own thing. By doing that, I can actually bring also their own identity as well. And before I said that it's not only about the hardworking artist or hardworking curator themselves, but I think building an ecosystem is very, very important, and also it's about the depending on the policies, the things changes too. So we have to always invite the government, the people in the culture and art sectors or education, that we have to really work together. We have to educate them so they know how important it is to bring our own cultures to abroad. So first we develop the content, local content, and also we work together from individual artists until like a government, the officers. Then I believe that we can find ways to monetize, or there will be some new methodologies that can support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeong Ok.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Rizal's ASEAN. Tune in for more insights into the bright young minds in Southeast Asia. This is Rizal Sokapli for Astro Awan.